A glaring issue of the first Five Nights at Freddy's game that I glossed over in my review last month was the lack of a noticeable plot. Not counting the newspaper ad at the beginning of the game, brief mentions from the phone guy.
I won't talk quite as long this time since Freddy and his friends tend to become more active as the week progresses.
And the checks and pink slip you receive at the end of the game. The soul of the story of Five Nights at Freddy's is only told in newspaper clippings that appear as Easter eggs. That is not a problem with the game's sequel, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It was first released on November 10th, 2014 for Windows, November 12th, 2014 for Android, November 20th, 2014 for iOS, and then 5 years later on November 29th, 2019 for the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One. A little later, I'll discuss why the story in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is better, but first let's discuss why the gameplay in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is better. Many gameplay elements from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game were carried over to Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Vent lights on this game, akin to the door lights from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, although unlike the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, the vent lights are used to, of course, monitor the vents for any animatronics, and if you didn't catch that, there's also a flashlight. The flashlight is used to either illuminate the main hall leading to your office, or to illuminate the rooms that appear on your camera monitor. Rooms that appear on your camera monitor are the show stage, the prize corner, the game area, the kids cove, the main hall, the parts and service room, then the various party rooms. There's party room 3, party room 4, party room 2, and party room 1, then the air vents that lead to your office. On the camera feed for the prize corner, there is a music box that needs to be wind up. If this music box isn't wind up for a little bit, you'll get a warning about it. And if you completely neglect to wind it up, a puppet will kill you, but not before a little musical clip of Pop Coaster Weasel plays. The music box is the closest equivalent to the power mechanic from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. Your flashlight does have its own power, and although running out of power on your flashlight will not cause a game over, it's still highly recommended you conserve it, as you have to monitor animatronics that appear in your main hall, especially Foxy. Let's get to the part where we talk about the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I won't waste any time discussing how the animatronics get to your office. I'll just link this map in the description. However, I will discuss what will happen when the animatronics are near your office. Foxy is fairly easy to ward off. All you have to do is flash at him every so often. The only way this will not work is if the batteries in your flashlight run out, or you face the wrath of a balloon boy. This is where I should mention another gameplay mechanic, the Freddy head. The Freddy head is located to the left of your monitor. If an animatronic appears in your office or in an event, all you have to do is wear it and it should hopefully ward him off. Note that the Freddy head does not work on Foxy or the aforementioned puppet. With Balloon Boy, he's one of 2 animatronics who, if they appear in your event, you must put on the Freddy head to ward him off. If you mess around a bit and never bother to put your Freddy head on, he'll appear in your office and he'll disable the ability for you to use your flashlight or the vent lights, which wouldn't be such a problem if... Another animatronic that exhibits such behavior is an animatronic called the Mangle. It will first appear in a kid's cove, then just wander around the whole building before making its way to one of your vents, and at that point you must put on your Freddy head. If you do not do such a thing, the Mangle will enter your office and he'll stay in your office for a little bit and then it will come kill you. Another animatronic that appears in the hallway right before killing you is Golden Freddy, who I did not mention in my previous Five Nights at Freddy's review. In the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, Golden Freddy was an Easter egg. Occasionally, a poster of him would appear in the west hall corner. If that poster appears when you load your monitor, he'll appear in your office, and not opening up your monitor for a little bit will cause him to kill you and crash the game. Or alternatively, if you put in 1987 into the custom night code, he'll kill you and crash the game instead. In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, he poses a bigger threat. He'll either kill you if you look at him in the main hallway for too long, or if you look at him in the office for too long. All the remaining animatronics exhibit similar behaviors from one another, which I'll explain now. First we have Real Freddy and Toy Freddy, Real Freddy being the Freddy from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, and Toy Freddy being the new Freddy for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. They'll look outside the main hall leading to your office. When they do enter your office, you have to quickly put on your Freddy head and warm off. With Real Freddy especially, you need to put on your Freddy mask quicker because he knows who he is. As for the other toy and withered animatronics, these animatronics being Toy Bonnie, Withered Bonnie, Toy Chica, and Withered Chica, they will all either go through your left or right vent to get to your office. With Toy Chica and Toy Bonnie, when they appear in your vent lights, you have to immediately put on your Freddy head to ward them off. On the other hand, with Withered Chica and Withered Bonnie, they'll appear in your vent cameras, but they'll not appear on your vent lights. They'll just be in your vents and then they'll go straight to your office, where you then have to put on the Freddy head to prevent them from killing you. Now, despite there being up to 8 animatronics, it's actually easy to manage them all if you know the specific strategies you can use for each night in the game. There are 5 nights in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, unsurprisingly. Each night lasts about 7 minutes when you compare that to the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, which was 9 minutes, so it's 2 minutes shorter. Given the music box and the lack of doors, you're obviously more in danger here than you were in the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, and you cannot simply be inactive for the first night. Instead of just sitting around, you have to check the vent lights, check the monitor, check the hallway linked to your office, and so on, or you can kind of cheat. And by that I mean just stay at the prize corner and just wind the music box for all of night 1. It's a great strategy, let me tell ya. From night 2 onwards, this will not work as Foxy will become active, so you have to follow this particular strategy for the other nights in the game. Just check the left and right vents, flash the hallway while you're doing so, wind the music box, and wear your Freddy head if you need to. It gets pretty monotonous, but I'll tell ya, it's more gameplay here than it is in the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. Completing night 5 unlocks night 6, where you can test your skills, aka, just use a strategy you've been using since night 2. Completing night 6 unlocks the custom night. Not unlike the custom night from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, you can put in codes to manipulate the behaviors of every animatronic. However, here they give you presets. These presets are 20 20 20 20, New and Shiny, Double Trouble, Not a Misfits, Foxy Foxy, Lazy Night, Freddy Circus, Cupcake Challenge, Fazbear Feeder, and finally Golden Freddy, aka 820 if you want to be more precise. And that's all I have to say about the gameplay in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It's better than the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, although the story in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is certainly far better than in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a prequel to the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, taking place in 1987. Because of this, the phone guy from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game is alive and well and is happily welcoming you to your new job.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Summer job, eh? I'll take your word for it. Like the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, the phone guy is here to acquaint you with the various gameplay mechanics.
So our temporary solution is this. There's a music box over by the prize counter and it's rigged to be wound up remotely. So just every once in a while, switch over to the prize counter video feed and wind it up for a few seconds. It doesn't seem to affect all of the animatronics, but it does affect one of them.
And to deny anything fishy is happening at your workplace.
I want to reassure you, Fazbear Entertainment is committed to family fun and above all, safety. So that restaurant should be the safest place on earth. That whatever is going on out there, however tragic it may be, has nothing to do with our establishment. It's just all rumor and speculation, people trying to make a buck, Fazbear Entertainment denies any wrongdoing. These things happen sometimes.
However, unlike the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, the phone guy does give away the plot, something that was absent in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. He brings up that the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza you're working at is not the old, dark, monotone Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, but rather a new, bright, colorful Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. He also mentions that the aforementioned new toy animatronics are more high-tech than their old counterparts.
Facial recognition, advanced mobility, they even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat? But most importantly, they're all tied into some kind of criminal database so they can detect a predator a mile away.
Now there ends up being a very good reason he mentions that specifically. He says that the Freddy Fazbear brand has been reeling from a dire reputation.
Now I want you to forget anything you may have heard about the old locations, you know. Some people still have a somewhat negative impression of the company. That old restaurant was kind of left to rot for quite a while, but
over the course of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, this poor reputation has evidently continued to elude the establishment.
Oh hey, before I go, I wanted to ease your mind about any rumors you might have heard lately. You know how these local stories come and go and seldom mean anything.
These rumors end up not being unfounded, and investigations are launched in regards to incidents occurring at the restaurant.
Okay, so just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close for a few days, I don't know.
And it does.
Keep a close eye on things tonight, okay? From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, you know.
Now there's something very interesting that the phone guy talks about when discussing the investigation.
Just as a side note though, try to avoid eye contact with any of the animatronics tonight if you can. Someone may have tampered with their facial recognition systems, we're not sure. But the characters have been acting very unusual, almost aggressive towards the staff. They interact with the kids just fine, but when they encounter an adult, they just stare.
Going back to the new animatronics' special abilities, you'd have to wonder if there was more to these animatronics than just their technical sides. Looking back to an Easter egg from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, the possibility that children were murdered and probably stuffed into animatronics is made very clear. This leads to another possibility that an incident similar to that is occurring at your workplace in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This theory in fact is all but proven in rare minigames that appear after you die in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. In this particular minigame, where you have to give cake to children, a child stands outside crying for her inability to participate. Suddenly, a purple figure drives up to the child, she cries harder, and just kills her. Note that you're playing as Freddy, and he noticeably slows down to witness this murder, all the while the children you're supposed to be giving cake to become more agitated. It's in a realm of possibility that the strange behaviors emanating from the animatronics would have something to do with these murders. This is hence the justification for them becoming increasingly hostile towards the adults. On night 6, the tone in Phone Guy's voice all but confirms the severity of what's been happening around the restaurant.
Hello? What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right.
This evidently results in the new Freddy Fazbear's Pizza closing and the new animatronics scrapped. Beforehand, however, the phone guide gives you instructions on what to do the next day.
We have one more event scheduled for tomorrow, a birthday. You'll be on day shift. Wear your uniform. Stay close to the animatronics. Make sure they don't hurt anyone, okay?
Note that the check-in of Night 6 is dated to November 13th, 1987, which isn't summer, but I digress. In the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, the phone guide does make mention of what happened in a bite of 87.
They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know? And
Speaking of which,
they've spent a small fortune on these new animatronics. Facial recognition, advanced mobility, they even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat?
it wouldn't take much thought to reasonably think that you were likely caught up in the bite of 87. And that's all I have to say about the story of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It's far better than the story of the first game, that's for sure. My only real gripe are those minigames, which, as I said, only really appear when you die, since those minigames are just as vital to the story as everything else is in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. In conclusion, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 isn't as scary as the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. The AI is more predictable, and the user start music isn't quite as effective here as it was in the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. Nonetheless, the gameplay is more challenging, and it exists, and the story is more alluring, and it exists. For those reasons, I would deem Five Nights at Freddy's 2 the better game over its predecessor. Not quite as scary, but a lot more complete. That's all I have to say about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Still looking forward to that Five Nights at Freddy's movie in October.
Oh my god, let's go!